The small restaurant was busy that evening. People were laughing. Plates were clinking. Music was playing softly in the background. Near the corner, an old man sat alone. His clothes were old and wrinkled. His hands were shaking as he tried to hold a cup of water. Some of the water spilled onto the table. He looked around, confused, like he did not know where he was. People started noticing him. A woman at another table whispered, "Why is he here?" A man shook his head and said, "He comes here every week. He is not normal." Someone else said, "I think he has Alzheimer." The old man heard the words, but they did not fully make sense to him. He only felt the pain in their voices. His eyes moved slowly around the room. He was searching for something, or maybe someone. Even he did not know. A waiter walked past him and sighed. "He smells bad," the waiter muttered. Another staff member said, "We should ask him to leave." The old man looked down at his hands. They were thin, weak. His fingers trembled like they were afraid. He tried to speak, but the words did not come out right. I just want to sit," he said softly. No one answered him. He felt invisible. Minutes passed. People continued eating, laughing, living their lives. The old man sat there, lost inside his own mind. Memories came and went like broken pictures. A loud noise made him jump. His breathing became fast. He looked scared. At the counter, a black waitress noticed him. Her name was Angela. She was holding a tray, but she had stopped walking. Her eyes were fixed on the old man. She saw the way his shoulders shook. She saw fear in his face. Not anger, not madness, just fear. A customer leaned toward her and said, "Why is that old man still here?" Angela did not answer. Another worker whispered, "Don't get close. He is crazy." Angela swallowed hard. Something inside her heart felt heavy. She had seen pain before. Real pain. This felt the same. She slowly walked toward his table. The old man noticed her shoes first, then her hands, then her face. He looked up, nervous. "Sir," Angela said gently, "are you okay?" He stared at her like she was a stranger from a dream. I don't remember," he said. His voice cracked. Angela pulled out a chair and sat in front of him. The restaurant noise faded for her. In that moment, it was just them. "Take your time," she said. The old man's eyes filled with tears. "They look at me like I am nothing," he whispered. "I know I forget things, but I am still here." Angela reached across the table. She held his shaking hand. The moment her fingers touched his skin, something changed. His breathing slowed. His shoulders relaxed. It was like someone had finally found him. Tears rolled down his face. "I used to be someone," he said softly. "I had a name. I had a life." Angela felt her throat tighten. "You still do," she said. "You matter." The people around them stared. Some looked uncomfortable. Others looked annoyed. The manager walked closer. "Angela, don't waste time," he said. She looked up at him. "He needs help," she replied. The old man suddenly squeezed her hand. His eyes became sharp for a brief moment. Clear. Strong. "I did not forget who I am," he said slowly. "They forgot me." Angela froze. Her heart started beating fast. "What do you mean?" she asked. The old man looked around the room. His eyes moved from face to face. Then he looked back at her. "They see an old man," he said. "They do not see my past." He leaned closer and whispered, "I built something big, something powerful." Angela blinked. "What did you build?" The old man opened his mouth to speak. Then his face changed again. The moment passed. He looked confused once more. "I'm sorry," he said. "I can't remember." Angela sat back, her mind racing. The manager cleared his throat. "We need to call someone," he said. Angela stood up. She placed her hand on the old man's shoulder. "Please," she said, "give him a moment." The old man looked up at her, scared again. "Don't leave me," he whispered. Angela shook her head. "I won't." She had no idea why she felt so connected to him. She only knew one thing. This was not just a broken old man. This man was hiding a story so big that would change everything. The old man's name was Henry Walker. At least, that was the name written on the faded card inside his pocket. The letters were almost gone, like his memories. Some days, he remembered his name clearly. Other days, it felt like it belonged to someone else. Henry had not always been like this. There was a time when his back was straight, his voice was strong, and people stood up when he entered a room. He once wore a uniform with pride. A soldier. A veteran. He had served his country when it needed him most. But no one in the restaurant knew that. To them, Henry was just another old man with a shaking hand and a lost mind. After Angela sat with him that night, Henry stayed quiet. He stared at the table, tracing lines with his finger. Sometimes he smiled. Sometimes his face tightened with fear, as if a memory was trying to break free. Angela watched him closely. "Do you remember where you live?" she asked gently. Henry shook his head. "I remember a house," he said slowly. "Big windows. Loud silence." Angela did not understand what that meant, but she listened. "I remember waking up early," Henry continued. "Making decisions. Important ones." He paused. "People waited for me to speak." His voice grew faint. "Now they don't wait." Angela felt something twist in her chest. Henry's past came in pieces. Broken. Out of order. One moment he talked like a leader. The next moment, he looked around like a scared child. Later that night, after the restaurant closed, Angela helped him outside. The cold air made him shiver. She offered him her jacket, but he refused. "I don't want to take what is not mine," he said. That sentence stayed with her. Angela watched as he slowly walked down the street, alone. No family, no friend, just darkness and streetlights. She wondered where he would sleep. The next day, Henry came back. Same corner table, same silence, same looks from people. But this time, Angela was waiting. She brought him water before he asked. She smiled at him like he belonged there. Other workers noticed. "Why do you care so much?" one of them asked. Angela shrugged. "Because no one else does." Henry looked up at her and smiled. "You remind me of someone," he said. "Who?" she asked. He frowned. "I don't know." One afternoon, Henry became upset. A loud laugh from another table made him panic. He stood up fast, knocking over his chair. "Get down," he shouted. "They're coming." People stared. Angela rushed to him. "Henry, it's okay," she said calmly. He looked at her, breathing hard. "I hear the sound again," he whispered. "The war." Angela guided him back to his seat. She held his hands until they stopped shaking. That was when she knew. This was not just Alzheimer. This man had lived through hell. Over the next few days, Henry started sharing more. "I lost people," he said one night. "Good men." He touched his chest. "They live here now." Angela asked softly, "Did you have a family?" Henry nodded slowly. "Yes, once." His eyes filled with tears. "They stopped visiting," he said. "I forgot their names, so they forgot me." Angela looked away, angry. Not at him, but at the world. One evening, while cleaning his table, she noticed something fall from his pocket. A small metal key. It was heavy, old, clean. Not the kind of key a poor man carried. Angela picked it up. "Henry," she said, "what is this?" He stared at the key. For a moment, his eyes became clear again. "That opens everything," he said. Angela laughed softly. "Everything?" Henry nodded. "Yes, everything I built." Before she could ask more, his face changed. The moment was gone. "I'm tired," he said. That night, Angela could not sleep. She kept thinking about the key, the way Henry spoke, the way he held himself, even when he was lost. This man did not feel small. He felt forgotten. Angela sat on her bed, staring at her phone. And she typed one simple thing into the search bar. The name written on the key. Her heart stopped. What she saw on the screen did not make sense. The numbers were too big. The company was too powerful. And the name at the top matched the old man everyone ignored. Angela whispered to herself, "No, this can't be real." But deep down she knew Henry was not just a veteran with Alzheimer. He was a man the world failed to remember. And his story was only just beginning. Angela was not supposed to care. She had her own problems. Bills. Long shifts. Tired feet. A life that never slowed down. Every day felt the same. Wake up early, work late, sleep tired. People rarely noticed her, just like they rarely noticed Henry. Angela grew up learning one hard lesson. If you fall, stand up alone. If you cry, cry quietly. Life had taught her not to expect help. But Henry changed something in her. Every time she saw him sitting alone in that corner, something inside her heart pulled tight. It was not pity, it was recognition. She knew that look, the look of being forgotten. Angela watched how people treated him. They talked over him. They avoided eye contact. They acted like he was already gone. But Henry was still breathing, still feeling, still hurting. Angela began saving a small plate of food for him at the end of each shift. She told the manager it was a mistake. Leftovers. No one asked questions. Henry always noticed. "You were kind," he said one night. Angela smiled. "I'm just doing my job." Henry shook his head. "No, kindness is never a job." Those words stayed with her. Some days, Henry remembered her name. Some days, he didn't. But every time he saw her face, he felt calm. That mattered more. Angela started sitting with him during her breaks. She did not rush him. She did not correct him when he forgot things. She let him speak, even when his stories went nowhere. One afternoon, Henry asked her a question. "Do you ever feel invisible?" he said. Angela paused. "Yes," she answered honestly. Henry nodded slowly. "Then you understand me." Angela did not know why, but tears filled her eyes. Henry talked about things that did not fully make sense. "I used to wake up early," he said. "I had meetings, big rooms, big screens." Angela listened carefully. "People listen to me," he continued. "Now they tell me to be quiet." His voice cracked. Angela reached out and held his hand again. "You don't have to be quiet with me," she said. Henry smiled. But not everyone liked what Angela was doing. Other customers complained. "He makes the place uncomfortable," one woman said. The manager warned Angela, "Don't get too involved." Angela nodded, but she did not stop. She saw something others didn't. Henry never asked for money. He never begged. He always said thank you. One night, after closing time, Angela followed Henry outside. "Where do you sleep?" she asked gently. Henry pointed down the street. "Wherever I remember," he said. Angela felt her chest tighten. She wanted to help more, but she had nothing extra to give. No spare room. No extra money. All she had was time. And respect. Over the next week, Henry's memory grew worse. He forgot where he was. He forgot what day it was. But he never forgot how Angela made him feel. Safe. One rainy evening, Henry arrived soaking wet. His shoes were torn. His hands were ice cold. Angela took him to the back and gave him a towel. "You'll get sick," she said. Henry looked at her with tired eyes. "I fought storms worse than this," he said softly. "Boss storms." Angela froze. "You were in the war?" she asked. Henry nodded. "They sent us when we were boys," he said. "They brought us back old." Angela saw pain cross his face. She wanted to ask more, but he closed his eyes. "I don't want to remember," he whispered. Angela respected that. That night, while Henry slept at the table, something fell from his coat. Angela picked it up, the same metal key. She looked at it closely this time. Heavy, strong, clean, not cheap. She turned it over in her hand. "Henry," she said quietly, "what is this key?" Henry opened his eyes slowly. For a second, his face changed. His back straightened. His voice became firm. "That key protects everything," he said. Angela's heart skipped. "Everything?" she asked. Henry nodded once. "They tried to take it," he said. "But I planned ahead." Angela felt goosebumps. "Who tried?" she asked. Henry blinked. The moment disappeared. "I'm tired," he said again. Angela helped him stand. That night, Angela went home confused. She thought about Henry's words, his posture, the key. She opened her phone. She searched the name she had seen before. The results came back again. Big buildings, big money, big power. Angela sat on her bed, shaking. The man the world ignored was connected to something massive, and the woman everyone ignored was the only one standing beside him. Angela whispered to herself, "If this is true, everything will change." But she did not know yet. Change was coming faster than she imagined. Angela could not focus at work. Her hands moved, but her mind was somewhere else. Every sound felt louder. Every minute felt slower. The words Henry had spoken kept repeating in her head. That key protects everything. She looked at Henry's table. Empty. Her heart skipped. Then she saw him slowly walk in through the door. Same tired steps. Same lost eyes. Relief washed over her. Henry sat down like always. But today felt different. Angela brought him water and sat across from him. "Henry," she said softly, "do you trust me?" He looked up confused. "I think so," he replied. Angela took a deep breath. "I found something," she said. "Something about you." Henry stared at her. "Did I lose it again?" he asked. Angela shook her head. No, you lost the world. It lost you. Henry frowned, not understanding. Angela reached in her pocket and placed the metal key on the table. His eyes locked onto it. For a moment, the room felt quiet. That should not be here, Henry said. You dropped it, Angela replied. What does it open? Henry's hand hovered above the key. I'm not supposed to say, he whispered. Angela leaned forward. I just want to help. Henry picked up the key slowly. I built something, he said. People wanted it. Angela listened closely. They smiled at me, he continued. Then they pushed me out. His voice shook. They said I was sick. Angela felt her stomach drop. Who said that? She asked. Henry closed his eyes. Men in suits, he said. They took my seat. My name. Angela felt anger rise in her chest. Henry opened his eyes again. I hid the truth, he said. So they couldn't erase me. Angela's phone vibrated in her pocket. She ignored it. What truth? She asked. Henry leaned closer. The money, he whispered. Angela froze. Henry looked scared. Don't tell anyone, he said. They're still watching. Angela nodded. She did not know if it was real, but she believed him. Later that night, Angela stayed awake in her small apartment. Her phone glowed in the dark. She stared at the screen. She searched again. The company name, the founder, the photos. Her breath caught. The man in the old photos stood tall. Clean suit, strong eyes. The name was the same. Henry Walker. The age matched. The dates matched. Angela's hands began to shake. She scrolled deeper. Legal fights, board meetings, sudden removal. Then a headline. CEO steps down due to health concerns. Angela whispered. They pushed you out. Her heart pounded. She closed the phone and sat in silence. If this was true, then Henry was not broke. He was hidden. The next day, Angela brought a notebook. She started writing down everything Henry said. Every name, every detail. Some days, he remembered clearly. They couldn't touch the accounts, he said once. I split everything. Other days, he remembered nothing. I think I forgot my shoes, he said, looking down at his feet. Angela learned patience. One afternoon, Henry grew upset again. They changed the locks, he said suddenly. I couldn't get in. Angela held his hands. Where? She asked. Henry pointed to the key. Where this belongs. Angela felt her heart race. Henry, she said carefully, what if I help you find it? Henry looked at her with fear. They will come back, he said. They don't like witnesses. Angela swallowed. No one is watching you now, she said. But even as she said it, she wasn't sure. Later that week, two men in suits walked into the restaurant. Angela noticed them right away. They did not order food. They did not smile. They looked around. One of them stared at Henry. Angela felt cold. The men whispered to each other and left. Henry's hands started shaking. They found me, he whispered. Angela knelt beside him. You're safe, she said. But she wasn't sure anymore. That night, Angela made a decision. She could walk away, pretend she never knew, or she could stand beside a man the world tried to erase. The next morning, she called a number she found online. A law office. I need help, she said. I think someone stole a life. The voice on the phone paused. Whose life? The man asked. Angela looked at Henry, sitting quietly at his table. A billionaire who forgot his name, she replied. Silence filled the line. Then the man said, Bring him in. Angela ended the call. Her heart was pounding. She looked at Henry and smiled. Henry, she said, we're going somewhere. Where? He asked. Angela held up the key. To open the truth. Henry stared at it. And for the first time in days, he smiled. The building was tall, cold, quiet, glass walls, white floors, heavy doors. Henry held Angela's arm as they walked inside. His steps were slow. His breathing was uneven. The place felt unfamiliar, but something deep inside him reacted. This place, Henry whispered. I've been here before. Angela nodded. I know. They were led into a small meeting room. A long table, black chairs, a large screen on the wall. 3 people waited for them. 2 lawyers. One older man in a dark suit. The man stood up slowly when he saw Henry. His eyes widened. It can't be, he whispered. Henry looked at him. Do I know you? Henry asked. The man swallowed hard. Yes, he said. You're my boss. The room went quiet. Angela felt her heart race. The lawyers exchanged looks. One of them opened a folder and pushed it across the table. "Mr. Walker," the lawyer said carefully, "do you remember signing these documents?" Henry stared at the papers. The words meant nothing to him. "I don't remember yesterday," Henry said softly. "How can I remember this?" Angela reached for his hand. "It's okay," she said. The lawyer nodded. "We expected that." He pressed a button on the screen. Old photos appeared. A younger Henry, standing in front of a large building, cutting a ribbon, surrounded by people in suits. Angela held her breath. Henry leaned forward. His eyes changed. "That's me," he whispered. The older man in the suit sat down slowly. "You built this company," he said. "You started it in your garage." Henry's face tightened. "I remember the garage," he said. "It was cold." Angela felt chills. The lawyer continued. "You created systems that still run today," he said. "You are listed as the founder." Henry shook his head. "They told me I was sick," he said. "They said I was a risk." The room stayed silent. The older man cleared his throat. "You were sick," he said, "but not powerless." Angela felt anger rise. "So you removed him?" she asked. The man looked away. "We protected the company," he said. "At his cost," Angela replied. One lawyer spoke again. "Mr. Walker," he said, "your assets were placed in a protected trust." Angela's eyes widened. "Protected?" she asked. The lawyer nodded. "Locked. Untouched. Billions." The word hung in the air. Henry blinked. "Billions," he repeated. "Yes," the lawyer said. "Your memory faded, but your signature planned for that." Henry's hands started shaking. "I knew they would try," he whispered. "So I hid it." Angela squeezed his hand. The older man in the suit stood up. "You don't understand," he said. "If this goes public." Angela cut him off. "He lived on the street," she said. "People laughed at him." The man had no answer. Henry looked around the room. "I sat alone," he said. "I begged for water." Silence. The lawyer slid another document forward. "This is the key," he said, pointing to the metal key on the table. "It opens the final account." Angela's breath caught. Henry stared at the key. His fingers hovered. Then he stopped. "I don't want revenge," he said softly. Everyone froze. "I want my name back," Henry continued. "And my dignity." The lawyer nodded. "That could be arranged." Tears rolled down Angela's face. For years, Henry had been ignored, pushed aside, forgotten. Now the truth was standing in front of everyone. Henry stood up slowly. His back straightened. For the first time, he did not look small. "I was more than my illness," he said. "I still am." The older man lowered his head. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. Henry looked at him. "Sorry doesn't fix time," he replied. Angela felt proud. They signed papers. Documents were stamped. Calls were made. Outside the room, people waited. Executives. Assistants. Security. Whispers spread. "That's him. The founder. He's alive." Henry walked through them calmly. No fear. No scum. Angela walked beside him. Outside, sunlight hit Henry's face. He closed his eyes and smiled. "I remember this feeling," he said. "Freedom." Angela laughed through tears. But inside her heart, she knew this was not the end. The world would soon know what it had done. And some people would have to answer for it. The news spread fast. Faster than anyone expected. By morning, Henry's name was everywhere. Phones hung. Screens lit up. People stared in disbelief. Founder found alive after years. Billionaire veteran lived forgotten. The same world that once looked away was now watching closely. Henry sat in a quiet room, staring at the television. His face appeared on the screen. Younger photos beside his tired eyes. "That's me," he whispered. Angela sat next to him. "Yes," she said. "They see you now." Henry nodded slowly. "I wish they saw me before," he replied. Outside the building, reporters gathered. Cameras flashed. Voices shouted questions. "Mr. Walker, what does it feel to be back? Who is responsible?" Henry felt overwhelmed. Angela placed a hand on his shoulder. "You don't have to answer," she said. But Henry stood up. "No," he said softly. "I need to speak." He walked to the microphone with slow steps. The noise stopped. "I'm not here for anger," Henry said. "I am here for truth." People leaned in. "I have Alzheimer," he continued. "But I still feel pain. I still feel respect." His voice shook. "When I forgot things, people forgot me. Silence filled the air. Angela watched from behind. I slept cold, Henry said. I was hungry, and no one asked my name. Some reporters lowered their cameras. Henry took a breath. One woman did, he said. He turned and looked at Angela. She held my hand, he said. When I had nothing. The crowd followed his eyes. Angela froze. She saw me, Henry continued. When I was invisible. The crowd murmured. That moment changed everything. The restaurant manager saw the interview on his phone. His face turned pale. He remembered asking Henry to leave. Customers who once complained now felt shame. Online comments flooded in. We failed him. How many others are ignored? The board of the company held an emergency meeting. Lawsuits were filed. Resignations followed. Statements were released. But Henry did not care about titles anymore. He cared about people. He asked Angela to help him visit a veteran's shelter. When they walked in, men looked up. Some recognized him. Some didn't. Henry sat with them, listened, shared food. I was you, he said, and I still am. The men nodded. One said, they only respect you when you're useful. Henry smiled sadly. That's why we must respect each other. Angela watched, proud. Later, Henry made his next decision. He created a foundation. For veterans. For Alzheimer patients. For the forgotten. He asked Angela to help lead it. Me? She asked. Henry nodded. You understand dignity, he said. Angela cried. She had always felt small. Replaceable. Now she was trusted with something big. One afternoon, Henry returned to the restaurant. The same one. People froze when they saw him. The manager rushed over. I'm so sorry, he said. We didn't know. Henry looked around. I know, he said calmly. Angela stood beside him. Henry pulled out a chair. I don't want apologies, he said. I want change. The manager nodded quickly. We'll do better, he promised. Henry placed a donation on the table. For training, he said. So you see people before judging them. The manager cried. Outside, someone clapped. Then another. Soon, the whole place applauded. Henry did not smile. He simply nodded. That night, Henry sat quietly with Angela. I still forget things, he said. Angela smiled. But you remember what matters. Henry looked at her. Yes, he said. Kindness stays. The world had changed its tone. Respect replaced silence. Truth replaced excuses. But the greatest change was not in headlines. It was in how people looked at those they once ignored. And it all started with one woman, holding one trembling hand. Time moved forward. Slowly, gently. Some days, Henry remembered everything. Some days, he remembered nothing. But the world remembered him now. Henry lived in a quiet home surrounded by trees. Nurses came and went. Doctors checked on him. But the place did not feel like a hospital. It felt like peace. Angela visited often. Sometimes Henry smiled when he saw her. Sometimes he asked her name. And every time, she answered with love. I'm your friend, she would say. That was enough. Henry's foundation grew quickly. It helped veterans find shelter. It helped families understand Alzheimer. It gave food, care, and dignity to people who had none. Henry attended events when he could. When he couldn't, Angela spoke for him. She told his story, not as a billionaire, not as a founder, but as a man. One afternoon, Henry and Angela sat on a bench outside his home. Belle sans souffle. The sun was warm. Henry stared at the sky. I feel like I lived many lives, he said. Angela nodded. You did. Henry turned to her. Did I do something good? He asked. Angela's eyes filled with tears. You change lives, she said. You change mine. Henry smiled. That's good, he whispered. As Henry's memory faded, his heart stayed strong. He remembered kindness. He remembered respect. And somehow, he always remembered Angela. One evening, Henry became very quiet. The doctors said his time was close. Angela sat beside his bed, holding his hand. Just like the first time, Henry opened his eyes slowly. Are they watching? He asked. No, Angela said softly. It's just us. Henry squeezed her hand. Thank you, he said, for seeing me. Tears fell onto the sheets. You were never invisible, Angela replied. They just forgot how to look. Henry closed his eyes. Peacefully. He was gone. The news spread quietly this time. No flashing cameras. No loud questions. Just respect. At his memorial, veterans stood in uniform. Families held photos. People he had helped shared stories. Angela stood at the front. She spoke clearly. Henry taught us something simple, she said. Every person matters, even when the world turns away. She paused. Especially then. The foundation continued. Schools invited Angela to speak. Restaurants trained staff differently. People stopped before judging. All because one woman chose kindness. Years later, a small plaque was placed in the restaurant corner. It read, "This seat is reserved for dignity." Angela often stopped by that table. She smiled, because she knew legacies are not built by money. They are built by moments. A hand held, a voice heard, a life seen. And sometimes, the greatest thing you can give someone is not help, but respect.